crazy thing about that is too, they went and caught the dope boy and then put him in jail.
Right, like, come on, dog. If that ain't the most planned, acted out script I've ever seen in my life. Like, who in their right mind as a dope boy is going to be selling drugs right in front of the White House? Like, they'd rather sell dope in front of a police station before they be at the White House. Like, the White House, like, come on, man, get out of here. It's that bad. It's at the White House. So who's smoking dope in the White House? Let's talk about
right. What happened to that sack after he put it on TV? What happened to that sack? Somebody took that. Somebody took that junk.
Yeah, that junk rocked up nice too. I'm like, oh, they put them on. They knew what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
And the crazy part, the undercover cop was like, he sitting at home like, man, that's the dope I just bought. Like, I just bought that. Why is this on TV? Like, I said, oh man, it's all a game. So they done called me to tell this man to meet me here. Man, ain't nobody saying ain't even no dope heads over there by the White House.
It's crazy. It's a cold world, but that's why Black economics is so important, and equity and equality is so important. But also, we do have to set up a structure and a system to combat the system and a structure that we are faced with daily. Because to both of y'all's point, it's always something new. But if we keep allowing them to hit us upside the head with a new thing and falling for the same little piece of candy and a joke every time, the joke on us every time, because we're always the one afflicted by the new whatever. And so we have to do better as a people and be smarter, but then we also have to fight for our economic right and independence so then therefore we don't have to worry about struggling and being impoverished and doing certain things, because we are trying to keep our lights on. We are trying to put a meal in our stomach after not eating for 3 or 4 days. We are trying to get pest control over here so we can get all these rats and roaches and stuff out of our house. We are trying to, make sure our loved ones get the medicine that they need to survive and live and all of this stuff. We are trying to make sure that, our kids can walk to school safely without having to worrying about getting hit by a stray bullet because of a drive-by or whatever the case may be. We have to do better as a people. And so I know shit's hard. I know we ain't giving a fair handshake, but we as a people got to do our part in making sure that we oppose the injustices, but also don't succumb to the bullshit that they try to throw our way.
We'll see it. We'll see it there.
I would. So go ahead, Floyd.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So, final question. So, do you think this was just some random blow, or do you think that this was a planned attack on minority people? Or do you just think
it was a planned attack?
Okay.
The real Rick Ross tell you that. Real Rick Ross said, I was buying keys from the government and I was with him and we was working together. It's some other dealers out there that tell you I was getting mine from the government. That's why I was getting it from Nicaragua, from the government, even though I probably butchered how to say that country. But they were saying it's pretty much, and Freeway Ricky Ross is pretty much the only one that's big that spoke on it, since he had so much money going through his hands at a period of time. But there's other dealers from back in that day, they were saying this is where I was getting it from, straight up. And they was working with me together. They was letting me do it. I wasn't getting arrested. I was able to buy off cops. I was able to say one name, police leave me alone, this, that, and the other. So yeah, it was a planned attack so the government could do what they had to do as far as getting their guns and funding the war in a whole nother country. United States doing what we do best and sticking our nose in other people's business.
For me, it's two different answers to that one question. So the influx of cocaine into America was definitely planned. It was structured. It was for them to try to control Nicaragua and gain a democracy over there. And so they was getting the drugs so they could give them the guns and the money, you know, just transferred to allow all that shit to happen and to take place. The actual crack, for me, I'm a go against how you feel, Rose, and I say again, I think that was Black creatives doing something and trying to make a way to make some money, and so that's what I believe, and so I'm gonna stay with that. So that part was on us. Now the other part that was a planned attack was when they decided to lay the hammer down, and then they made it a Black crisis versus an American crisis versus a pandemic, a drug pandemic that dealt with the whole country. They made it just about a pandemic, a drug pandemic that dealt with Black culture, Black communities. And so that was planned and deliberate in itself to break up homes, to get free labor through prisons and all of that stuff, and to make us seem like we are the savages, we are the thugs, we are the killers, we are the people without morals and sensitivity and all of that stuff, and just out here trying to, you know, pillage through our own communities and our own loved ones in America itself. That was definitely planned. However, as far as, you know, crack specifically, I just think, you know, I don't even, when I say this, it's gonna sound bad, but we made the best out of the situation we was handed. We played the cards that we was dealt, and we found a way to survive, and it plagued our communities and ourselves, and that's the hand that we played into it. But again, I don't think crack specifically was something that they implanted on us. Now, cocaine, yes, most definitely. They, you know, you can't make crack without coke. So yes, coke was deliberately brought to America for the things. And again, I don't even think that they thought that we would make crack. I think they just thought, you know, coke was gonna be coke and that's what it was gonna be. And so they didn't even think that far ahead into the travesties that happened in America afterwards. But so that's my answer.
Yeah, well, I think everybody knows exactly. I know for a fact it was just a planned attack in regards to how they approached it. And the only reason why I say that I don't think that we created it is because of just the narrative that was painted behind it. You had three consecutive presidents speak about, you know, clearing it up. They put the, you know, 3-strike rules in effect. A lot of people, you know, stripped from their families, a lot of different things like that. But the only reason why it's hard for me to think that they created something out of nothing is because cocaine back in the day in its purest form was very expensive. So I don't know who would be the first person that would buy it and say, I'm about to cook it to get more out of it. I would think that that would be something that they would do just to find out if there is a lesser form that could form on the streets. Because if I'm poor and I finally get my hands on some real cocaine, I'm probably gonna try it like the rest of the people doing because I can afford it. But that, you know, that's just we'll never know. But I just don't think that that was nothing that we created because of how strategic it was and how it progressed, and the effectiveness was to the point where you're winning the election for the next 12 years. They were talking about the same exact thing, and the best president that had the best solution to locking up drug users and crack dealers won it. I just don't think that rich people, I don't think poor people spent hard-earned money to get real cocaine just to cook it, to put it in their hood.
You got to remember, a lot of the bricks they was getting was on consignment because they was working with the government. So they wasn't paying up front. They wasn't paying up front for them bricks.
Yeah, but correct. But who would get? But before it turned into a thing to where you got your Freeway Rick Rosses and other people that were able to distribute cocaine or have an inside, they got the plug with the government or however, where would it tie in for us they giving it to us in consignment where you couldn't even get cocaine in the hood, like they were saying, like you couldn't even get it. Like white people or the upper echelon people were using this at a high level. So somebody had to have enough bread to party with them, but then have the idea to think, I don't want to use it the way they want to use it. I want to find a lesser form that's a cheaper value that will be in this particular neighborhood. Because I would think the same people that were snorting powder would have been smoking crack first. It wouldn't have been crack all of a sudden is a form that you can get in the inner city where these upper echelon people have just been snorting it. It's kind of like, how do we go from there to this? And this form is available. It's like you got Target over here, but then you got fucking what's the cheap ass store that you can get like great value products that you got the best over here, Whole Foods or whatever, and then you got
Save a Lot,
Dollar Tree, Save a Lot, Piggly Wiggly, whatever you got. So it's like, I don't know how Piggly Wiggly is not going to be lowering their product value just to be being like Piggly Wiggly, you know what I'm saying? Or that, like, I don't think that we would be able to shop here, but then still be talking about, let me make this Piggly Wiggly. I think it was playing like that for real.
No, and I respect your opinion and how you feel about it, but I think that one thing that you're not realizing is that cocaine was an American drug, so it was available to all communities. It's just that the white people was able to call it a party drug, and they was able to keep it in its purest form at that time because they had the bread, but coke was still in the hoods and all of this stuff. It's just in the hoods, we couldn't get it off as fast as the rich people, the Wall Streets, the actors, the actresses, the entertainers, and all this other stuff. We couldn't get it off as quick. And so therefore, because we couldn't get it off as quick, we found a way to make something that where we could get it off and get people to be able to afford it. And so, but cocaine was, as soon as it hit from Nicaragua, it was in Las Vegas, it was in LA, it was in the Oak Cliff, it was in Third Ward, like it was available everywhere because they was trying to get it out there so then therefore they could make their money for the war that they was trying to fund. But it's just, we couldn't get it off. Our cultures and communities couldn't get it off because we were in those socio-economic environments.
I get that it was everywhere. But my thing is, I don't understand of where, if I have people that I know for a fact are buying it, I'm not taking my product down to people that they can be able to afford it when I know for a fact these people are going to pay the asking price. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get that process to where, yeah, we have limited buyers in our neighborhood, but these people buying everything. Maybe it wasn't for our neighborhood. So that's what I'm saying. So if it's just turned into this white people thing or people with money thing, why don't the poor people want it? Because it's too expensive. I don't think that even any drug dealer, no matter the color, I don't want you to spend less money. I want you to keep spending money. If you're still chasing that high, if you still gonna want to pay 20, I still want the 20. I don't want the $5. So that's why I don't think that it was our choice to be like, hey, let's try this lesser form to get it to everybody so we can keep pushing this. That's why, that's my thought, yeah.
But if you got 2 bricks and I got 2 bricks, it take me 2 months to get my 2 bricks off. It take you 2 weeks to get your 2 bricks off. And because you breaking it down for a cheaper thing and you selling it at $5 a piece, but your 1 brick, let's just say, if I sold my brick, I'll make 10 G's off of it. When you break your brick down the way that you do, you making 40 G's off of it because you broke it down and you getting yours out in 2 weeks compared to my 2 months. Who really winning?
That's my thing, is that if it wasn't something that was in our neighborhood, I don't think that logic came after we learned of how it could be broke down like that. I don't know who was touching bricks in our community that has came out to say, man, I knew exactly what to do with this. I feel like they picked up the game once it started to be flooded everywhere. That's not our thoughts was, oh man, I got a brick. I still know I can go over here and get this off with these people because this is what they're doing at a high rate. Like, it wasn't in our community because our community wasn't structured to be using crack. It was something implanted to take our focus off of hey, you guys want to be like these people over here? Hey, this is something that you all could do, because it wasn't for us. That's what I'm saying. I don't think our mindset was to ever distribute drugs within our community. It was their mindset to have us using drugs the way they use drugs, because they're partying. We're just trying to survive over here. That's our whole mindset coming from the times we were in. We wasn't trying to, I don't think that our people was naturally just going to be inclined to be wanting to use drugs. I think that was just something they seen, like Hollywood. Everybody want to be like superstars. That's that type of shit. That wasn't for us. That's where I'm coming from. It's like, I don't think that that was ever our thought process, was to be smoking crack or using cocaine. That was just what the rich folks did. That's how I look at it.
But our people wasn't privy to what the rich folks was doing.
Sorry, with me, I'm not saying about people was just, hey, it's fine, let's cook some crack. We wasn't even fucking with cocaine. They brought that shit here. We wasn't studying that. Like, that's what I'm looking at. Like, we wasn't drug users. We wasn't drug abusers. They like to do that party and wild folks shit. X and raves and what was it, stockyard or whatever they used to do back in the day, and smoking weed out in fields. We was family, trying to make something right, civil rights movement, keeping our people pushing forward. You see the highlights and flashing of all the rich folks use this. Oh, now it's enticing. Here goes some little something that y'all can afford if y'all want to start doing it. Boom. Then that's where we start. I don't think that that was ever our plan. That's where I'm coming from. For us to ever be a part of this epidemic that they put out or planned, it was never our thing. So yeah, I get where you're going from, but I don't think our people naturally was trying to think, okay, let's get crack. They just looked at it like, yeah, them folks up there living, that's what they doing, cool.
But what I'm saying is they didn't know what them folks was doing. The only reason why we know is because they advertised it to us. They didn't have.
We said the same thing, bro.
No, what I'm saying is, you saying they looking up there talking about that's what them folks doing. That's the white folk drug. They partying. They didn't know them folks was partying off of coke. What they know is coke was brought to their community. Somebody said, put this out. When they try to put it out, either some people liked it. If they could afford it, they could afford it. If they couldn't, they was holding on this drug for whatever. We know that the white folks was partying and stuff because we have the access to it now, and because people spoke and talked about things years later on, and talked to the news outlets and all this other stuff and got sources. But our communities back then, they didn't know that. All they know is the CIA agent came with a brick, said, try to get your people to use this. And then either it was coke or it was crack, but they tried to get that off from the CIA agent and make it work. And whatever way that they decided was the way that they chose. But again, it wasn't like they were saying, oh, these are how these people using it, so we're going to emulate them. They didn't know what the white people was doing to emulate. That's what I'm saying.
Well, let's not forget the movie Scarface and what that brought to the hood, and people started noticing that the rich folks that's how they was getting down due to the movie Scarface, and how Scarface came into the hood as a man who came over with no money, broke, however, and then turned to a multi-millionaire. And there was a statement in the documentary even brought about that said that, when we see the movie Scarface and they was snorting cocaine with $100 bills, we was trying to emulate that because that's all the people with money was doing. So let's not forget about that. And I can't remember exactly what year Scarface came out, but
I'm not forgetting, but also that was years after coke was already been here for a minute. Because I'm about to Google what year Scarface came out.
You looking it up now?
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, we know cocaine had been here and people was partying on it. I think it just amplified it.
3.
What year?
83.
Oh yeah, it was around about the time. Yeah, it was around about the time then, about 83.
Yeah, that's when crack hit though, but not when coke hit.
Yeah, but
we wasn't using. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like we're saying around the same things. I don't think that our people looked at cocaine was something that was accessible and that was cool for us, because our structural background was to push our people forward, not to be drug heads. Now, when you introduce this lifestyle tool, you got Al Pacino. He's not powder. He got all this. Of course, it's accessible. I don't think our number one thought process was, hey, here's crack. Let's try cooking the crack, because where would you get that from? they were already using it. They already had their hands on it before we would have heavy accessibility to say we're going to be introducing crack, because crack came after cocaine. So they were already playing with it and knowing how to use it different ways. It just happened to hit and stick in the hood. And their rhyme or reason to say it was that it was affordable. I don't think that was ever our goal as people to take on, hey, we about to cook crack and this is how we about to start selling to our people. I just don't think that our mindset was that. I really think that we were on a progressive push people forward. This was a distraction that was playing, and it just happened to stick. Just like gang banging. Nobody made us bang these hoods. That came after drugs. That really turned into a big thing, like 70s, 80s, went rapid after niggas started. They went away from the Black Power movement. Bloods, Cribs, GDs, Vice, whatever you are, you protect your neighborhood. Now it turns into a drug war. Now you're banging and protecting these hoods where you used to be protecting it from the outside people. Now you got drugs involved. Now you got money involved. Now you got guns that are everywhere. Now the cities are getting crates randomly dropped. Like, it's strategic, bro. I don't think our people ever wanted to be smoking crack. I think it was something that was planted and it stuck because cocaine wasn't enough, because it wasn't accessible.
I'm just gonna say the timeline though, because you got to remember Vietnam War. That's when a lot of our people came back hooked on drugs and everything because of the stuff that they went through and all that other stuff. And
that was the heroin movement.
No, it was, but also, you know, crack too, and well, not crack, but coke and all that other stuff. They started off with coke, but then they realized that the coke wasn't doing enough, and they moved to heroin to try to use as pain pills and all this other stuff and pain suppressants. But you got to remember that, and that was the 70s. So that was before, you know, even the influx of coke and all of that stuff. So I'm just saying you got to remember the timeline. So I get we were trying to push certain movements and agendas, but we also always had a problem throughout history. Just people in general had a problem with usage of substances.
Right. And I know we gotta go ahead, D-Ro.
Yeah, I follow that. I just don't think that was our intentions, was to be using a lower form of something that they deemed as something that we couldn't access. I just don't feel that. I feel like they purposely did it the same way they purposely set up for it to be right in front of the White House and him to have some cooked up crack in his hand to do to address the United States and let them know that this is a serious issue. You know, no different from Scarface and how they put out colors in 88 or 89 to introduce us to gang banging. It took us from not knowing what's really going out there in Cali to now it's a worldwide thing and everybody on Bloods, Crips, whatever you bang. That's just what it is. It's everything. To me, it's strategic. 83 Scarface, 80, 89 colors. Everybody know about gang banging. That's the stuff we grew up watching. Drugs and gang banging. So,
yeah. One thing, as I know we got to wrap this up, but with this subject and the thing that's recently happened, we got to talk about it for a little bit. The White House and Joe Biden approving a $30 million grant for harm reduction plan. What do you guys, y'all hear about that? Y'all read on it? What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I read up on it. I originally had seen a post. I think it was from like one of them little shade room or something. But the way they put it out, it was just like crack pipes. But when I looked into it, it was saying that they're looking at different ways or safer ways for people to use drugs. Which of course you put it out there, fake news is gonna catch your attention. It caught mine, but I read into it, so I didn't speak on anything in in an ignorant fashion. My thoughts on it is that he played a little part in that little push to have a lot of people incarcerated and push. 30 million is, I mean, that really ain't gonna do too much if you have a real, America has a drug problem. It's not any community based. America has a drug problem. I mean, it's cool. I just think that this is just some last ditch effort to just try to find something to pull them through. But 30 million and you want people to safely use drugs. Okay, Biden, but also reverse some of those sentences to some of those people that you pushed very hard for when you was running back in your younger days as, super predators and viral criminals and all that type of stuff. How about you look at some of those laws and legislation that you stood behind to get that reversed? You can keep that little 30 million, but you all know that this is a America issue. It's not inner city. It's not Black people. It's not minorities. that would mean more than 30 million to helping people use drugs safely. That's what I got from it.
For me, the idea in itself, I'm not opposed to it because, like they said on the documentary, people gonna use what they want to use. They're gonna find a way to use it or whatever. So a safer way to get to it. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. And making sure people are people are protected. Again, I'm not opposed to it, but to Rose's point, 30 million ain't even gonna cover research fully. So again, it's a PR stunt because again, with 30 million and to find to do the research that you need to be done over the years from and then all the different types of drugs and all this other stuff, you ain't really gonna be able to get enough research, have enough time depending on the years and everything, and enough finances to do what you need to do to implement this in the masses that we need to implement it in to protect people truly from what they need to be protected from. But I am not opposed to people who are users and addicts because substance abuse and addiction is real. And for people who are users and addicts to find a safer way to protect themselves and their loved ones, I'm all for it if it is saving lives.
Yeah, I don't think 30 million enough. I think we all agree on that. I think research has already been done over years and years of time on, what to do, what can help to get it prevented, this, that, and the other. They have done this in other countries before, kind of where they've done this plan already and kind of have people doing drugs in a safer way and it reduce, overdoses and things like that. The main thing they're trying to do is get people from shooting up. If they keep people from using needles and shooting up, that's the main thing they're trying to get away from, to keep people from overdosing and spreading, HIV and spreading other diseases and things of that nature. I'm not mad at it. I am ashamed. Well, I'm not ashamed, but it's crazy how these headlines just hit that, it's all on crack pipes. I was like, man, this is crazy. Like when I first seen it, I was like, yeah, I know for sure this is fake. Let me go ahead and do a little bit more research and see what was going on. But I want to get y'all opinions on that. I know he was a part of, locking people up back in the day. And one thing about that too is people might not agree with this, but it was kind of our community fault also, because we was pushing to get these people up out of here, lock them up, throw away the key. They destroying our community without even realizing what the whole plan was and what was really going on in the background. And nobody questioned it like we question now on how these major guns that ended up in Black communities, like in that situation. Like nobody was really questioning it until after a while, they started questioning, like, hold on, how did cocaine get in our neighborhoods? And why the police letting this ride without saying nothing? And that's when, as a Black community, we started realizing, oh, we've been duped. But before then, it was lock them up, throw away the key. Even the people in our own communities was saying that as well, But from what I seen and what I know is my research, and that's pretty much how it was. I'm not letting Joe Biden, I'm not letting any of them politicians off the hook. All of them could suck a fat baby dick for all I care. But they did kind of screw us in that whole situation though, and knowing that the government had some behind, especially that boy Reagan and his ugly ass wife.
Yeah, it's all strategic, man. It's all strategic. It's Have y'all seen that thing, man? Before we close it out, have y'all seen the video where it was like at a race and the crowd was saying, "Let's go, Brandon"?
I think I seen it a while ago.
But you know what they was really saying in the crowd? Okay. So the people that understand that, they know exactly what I just said. Let's go, Brandon. Like,
I must have missed that.
yeah, so it was like a NASCAR race or some big race. And the crowd was came on and they was like, "Fuck Joe." You know what I'm saying? And so the woman said, "What are they saying?" She was like, "Let's go, Brandon." So yeah, yeah. So that's the little thing, man. Yeah, let's go, Brandon. But nah, man,
That's funny.
it's crazy because early voting is starting down here, and they're doing a little pushing. I'm planning on kind of partnering with some people to see exactly of who is being elected down here. And one thing that I've noticed, man, just since we landed on this, is don't be party biased. Make sure that the people that you're actually voting for or looking to vote for have the same core values as you. Because what I've seen a lot of people, and especially us, I can speak for that, and within our communities, it's all about Democratic Party or whatever party that they're just so drawn to. Don't let people pull the wool over your eyes with that, because I've seen some Republicans that may have more of your core values than just blindly voting Democrat because it's what you've been conditioned to or thought. That's just something I would just say be very mindful of, because I've seen some pretty good candidates of what they put out from the independent Democrat and Republican, but I know a lot of people that just blindly voting whatever party. And I think that's where a lot of times we get into these situations to where you're gonna have to deal with that for 4 years or however long they in that seat. Well, and that can make or break a lot of stuff around you. And it's just, it's important that if you will vote, if you're gonna vote, know who you're voting for, because a lot of stuff we talking about, a lot of this stuff could have been avoided. But when you have the right people in your corner and backing you and pushing you, you have 12 years of families being torn apart. And some of those people needed rehab then. That 30 million could have worked back then instead of them being in jail for abusing a drug like Americans do, people do. So that's how I look at that, because they can pander to you how you feel or what's going on in that moment, but don't be a prisoner to the moment, and really just think about the people that's going to be helping you or your community push forward in a real progressive way, not just because they say, if you're not Black if you don't vote for me.
Yeah, and just to add on to what you said, believe it or not, there's a lot more Black Republicans than what you think there are or should be or whatever the case may be. And a lot of them have our best interests. They just align with the financial structure of the Republicans, and that's why they deem themselves Republicans. But they have a lot of the importances and core values that we would have if you call yourself a Democrat or independent or whatever, or just being a Black person. Just talk about being Black, that you would have as a Black person. They have a lot of your core values. It's just they associate with Republicans for 9 times out of 10 financial reasons, and that's about it.
They say, and we ain't got to dive into that, but they say our original party was Republican.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's back.
So yeah, I mean, that's all I wanted to say about that. Before our Black Business Minute, we got Best Life Organics. You can find them at bestlifeorganics.com. Meet the founder. Shadora Martin is a natural skincare formulator and self-proclaimed ingredient enthusiast. She founded Best Life Organics in 2018 when her journey into motherhood compelled her to make self-care a priority. When she started making her own skincare products at home, she decided that she wanted to share her creations with the world. Partnering with small family-owned growers and producers in the United States and abroad, Shadora handcrafts every product in small batches using organic and wild harvested ingredients. She takes pride in helping others embrace their natural beauty through products that bring out the best in our skin. Clean ingredient skincare, non-toxic, cruelty-free ingredients. It's important to know what you're putting on your skin. Our clean ingredient skincare makes it easy because we use only the highest quality oils, extracts, and aromatics. At Best Life Organics, we keep our ingredient list small and simple to understand, so you don't have to wonder what's in every formula. This approach promotes healthy results for all skin types. Learn more below about our skincare ingredients. So Best Life Organics is our Black Business Minute. You can also find them on Best Life Organics on Instagram. And again, that is BESTLIFEORGANICS, Best Life Organics. Salute.
Salute.
Salute. Our Supreme Black Person of the Week goes to Miss Erin Jackson. She's Olympic speed skating champion. She's the first Black woman to win a gold medal speed skating in the Winter Olympics. She is from Florida. She went to school at the University of Florida. She also, other medals she had is roller sports in the 2015 Pan American Game, women 500 meters, and also speed skating once again in 2022 at the Winter Olympics as the women's 500 meters. So shout out to Erin Jackson for being the first Black woman to win a gold medal when it came to speed skating. And this just recently happened.
Shout out, Queen.
All right, with that being said, for all our queens out there, put your crown on, tilt that thing to the side. Let them know you are a queen. For all our kings out there, put your crown on, tilt that thing to the side. Let them know you are a king. We are supremely Black.